My name is John Campbell. I'm an orthodontist here in Winnipeg, and I've been coming to Float.Calm for a couple of years now. I couldn't tell you exactly, but I believe it's over 100. Yeah. It's really hard to pin it down to one thing. I mean, we all change over time, and I've been going through a lot of changes in the last few years, and I strongly suspect that floating is a huge part of that, and maybe it's the biggest part. I don't know. It's hard to distill down, but I think it's really given me space to make those changes. It's helped clear my head for 90 minutes at a time, clear my head as much as I can. And it's really given me the space to make those changes. And the effect is really cumulative. It's like the closest thing I can compare it to is going to a gym. You go to the gym and you feel good after your session, or you may feel not so good, but the cumulative effect is over time you feel stronger and better, and it's all this good stuff that just accumulates. And that's what I've noticed with floating, that it really has given me more space in my life to look inward and explore stuff. For the first time, it can be almost disappointing for some, at least for some people, in that if they have expectations like they're going to see cosmic things, and if you have that, great. And I'm still waiting for those super cosmic explosions in my head, but it never has really happened to me, and certainly didn't happen at the beginning. It's just very ordinary, but in an extraordinary way. It's just sitting with yourself for 90 minutes in comfort and darkness and relative silence, because you still hear your body. You become very aware of the sounds of your body, which are not unpleasant. It's very cool. It's just ordinary, but in an extraordinary way. And I think that human beings are wired for this. We're not wired for internet connection and our phone 24/7, but we've evolved into being interested in that because humans are like super curious, so they're just like checking things out all the time. So that's cool. But we're wired to have this quiet time by ourselves. And this is the most wonderful opportunity to meet that requirement that we all have deep down, even though we've sort of forgotten it. Our ancestors would have gone hunting. They would have been out in the field by themselves. They would have been by themselves raising the children and looking after the children. It's a recent phenomenon that we're sort of got this 24/7 buzz in our heads, and I love the buzz. I mean, I love it too. It's not a superior thing where that technology is bad, but you got to get away from it. Again, getting back to the idea of space. It's mental and emotional space that the floating provides me. And I'm one of those, I mean, my mind buzzes. That's just the way it works. And I think a lot of people have that. And a lot of people who think about meditating, they'll say, oh, I can't meditate, I can't quiet my mind. And I was like that too. It's like, well, I'm not doing it right. But in meditation, I just learned to just put up with whatever my mind was doing and just let it go. And I have found that floating is sort of meditation on steroids for me. And my mind is much quieter. I haven't got the Zen Buddhist monk thing down, not even close, and I probably never will. My mind is always going, but it's a much slower pace. I'm much more conscious of my thoughts. And it's just throughout the day, I notice more and more what my mind is thinking. It's not this automatic stuff that's just flying around my head the way it used to be. It's much more conscious and much more aware. And that's something that I've really, really noticed. And I think that the biggest part of that, I meditate sort of on and off, but I float more regularly than I meditate. And I think that I can only put it down to the floating experience as quieting my mind all the time. And again, that gets back to the cumulative effect, like going to the gym. It's like you go to the gym and it's like, yeah, I feel stronger, I feel healthier, I feel better, I'm more flexible, I feel awesome. And it's that cumulative effect of doing that work on a regular basis. I found I'm way less reactive, and I'm much more conscious of my reactions, and sometimes I'll still indulge in my reactions, but I'm much more aware of them. I will get impatient, but I quickly become aware that I'm impatient, and I'm able to settle down. So it's the effect of floating for me has been really amazing. It really, I can't overstate it, but it's a gentle, gradual thing. It's not like you go in, see God, and come out. It's a gradual experience, but I love it. That's what the floating does. It makes you more conscious of what's going on in your head, because you've got this space. And again, it's a ritual where you've made a conscious decision. I'm going to schedule this. I'm going to go at such and such a time. I've left myself 2 hours to get there and to get home to do this. This is important. And you've made a conscious decision to be conscious. And I just love it. And the more I do it, the more important it is in my life. Don't be afraid. You've lain in a bathtub. It's not that different. It really isn't. And that's the thing, that the danger or the difficulty in describing floating is that it's as ordinary as you can imagine, yet extraordinary as you can imagine. It's got those both. It has both features. It's not such a big deal. I mean, I think people can get too worked up about, oh, I'm in enclosed space and it's going to be freaky. It's not freaky. It really isn't. It's like laying in a quiet bathtub, and you don't have your phone beside you. I'm one of those people who has my phone and my iPad beside me. I'm reading and drinking coffee while I'm laying in the bathtub. But it's just like laying in a beautiful, warm bath. And it quickly becomes a very normal thing. Now, for some people, it may take a few times, but it's such a warm and welcoming atmosphere that it's just not a big deal. It is simple, but it's got this amazing. I mean, it's like learning to read. Learning to read is the most simple thing. You learn the alphabet, and then you learn putting words together in phonemes, and yada yada yada. And then you learn to read, and then which is mechanical and not a big deal. After a couple of years, you've mastered it. And then it opens this wonderful, amazing world of reading. And it's like, wow. It's not a big deal. Floating is not a big deal, but it's a huge deal. I don't necessarily associate it directly with floating. Like, my life has just undergone these amazing, wonderful changes. And so I have had those epiphanies, and I've had those throughout my life, and I've probably had more in the last 2 years than I have in my entire previous life, part of my life. But they didn't necessarily came at the time of floating. It's like dreaming too. I think that dreams have this amazing narrative and provide this wonderful information, but you don't always get them directly at the time when you wake up. It's percolating in your head, so that the effect is is not isolated to your time of floating. So I have had, I mean, I've floated so many times that I can't remember all my episodes, and I certainly have come out going, wow, blown away by what came to me. But lots of floating is just like, yeah, that was great. Now I gotta run some errands and do some other stuff. But again, it really creates a space for amazing stuff to come. And I think that, again, what floating has shown me is shown me how much is inside of me that wanted to get out, that needed to get out, and floating has helped to provide the space and to teach me and encourage me to allow that stuff to come out. Practically speaking, it's comfortable, it's not creepy, this space feels very safe and inviting and comfortable. So I've never had a bad vibe here. Never felt bad energy. The water is wonderful. I prefer a little on the warm side, so it's often that temperature. But you quickly get acclimatized. I really can't stress enough to people that it's more ordinary than you think, but the effects are more extraordinary than you can imagine. And laying in water for 90 minutes, you don't get wrinkled like you would in a bathtub. So even in the middle of January when it's minus 30, you go outside, you feel great. Your skin feels soft and smooth. It's not like sitting in a bathtub from that respect because of the magnesium salts or the Epsom salts. It's just a comfortable thing, and I just encourage everybody to give it a try, and maybe more than one try. I think that you have to give it a few, and be gentle with yourself and allow yourself to be maybe a little freaked out or a little puzzled at the beginning. But I think you'll find that it's really easier than you think. It's not such a big deal, but if you keep doing it, it can be a huge deal and a wonderful experience. The floating it just creates this space, and I think it's the most natural thing in the world, that human beings are designed not to be crowded into little tiny spaces with a gazillion other human beings with their phones and their iPads and their laptops and all that stuff. And I'm not putting that stuff down, but we're designed to be quietly walking in a forest with our own thoughts. We're designed to be laying awake at night under the stars with our own thoughts. And we rarely get that now. And floating gives us that. And we're wired for it. There's no doubt in my mind. It would absolutely be impossible to imagine that human beings are not wired for quiet time. Yeah. Just to sit there. Yeah, and not just laying. It's like, oh well, I go to sleep and I just sort of. But no, your head is buzzing. You're going to sleep. You're worried about stuff. The phone is maybe ringing. You've got your phone. Your phone buzzes. You go, oh, Facebook. Okay, gotta check it out. This is like, no. You've consciously made the decision to be quiet, just as your ancestors did hundreds and thousands of years ago, and that's what we're wired for. So this is full circle. Human beings are just like, so now it's time for us to consciously go after those things that we were wired for, that we're designed for. But there's nothing weird about this. Human beings are absolutely, totally designed for this. This is not weird. It's not weird stuff. It's only weird because we're so used to the 24/7 electronic connection fog that we're all in.